into sons of God. Only Christ can bring sinful people into the family of God. Now, recently, someone asked me a really good question. I thought it was a very good question. They asked the question, if everyone is a child of God, why did Jesus come to make us children of God? Good question. If everyone is a child of God, then why did Jesus come to make us children of God? The premise of the Bible and the premise of Galatians chapter 4 is that sin has alienated us from God. This means that all people on planet Earth are created in the image of God and are worthy of dignity and respect. They're worthy of being loved and be treated, and they should be treated fairly because they are image bearers. But not all people are children of God. Not all people are children of God. In fact, most people on planet Earth right now are not children of God. Look at the contrast in verse 7. So you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then God has made you an heir. So the contrast is between a slave and a son. A slave and a son. And slaves are not sons, and sons are not slaves. So what are we a slave of? In John chapter 8, Jesus says that we are slaves of sin, that we sin because apart from the grace of God, we are slaves of sin. And then he goes on to say in John chapter 8, verse 42, Jesus is talking to the Jewish people. Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me because I came from God and I am here. For I did not come on my own, but he sent me. Why don't you understand what I say? Because you cannot listen to my word. You are of your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. And this is a strong statement. You are of your father, the devil, and you want to carry out your father's desires. The human condition, apart from the grace of God, apart from the work of Christ, is that we are slaves of sin, sons of Satan, and under the wrath of God. Now, some of you are thinking, I am so happy I came to church today to learn that I'm a slave of sin and a son of Satan. I mean, this is not a very popular message. But we can't even make sense out of Christmas unless we understand who we are apart from the grace of God. Christmas is nonsense if everyone is already a child of God. The premise of the Bible is that sin has alienated us from God, and therefore we're cut off from God. We're not children of God naturally. This is why Christ came. He came not to be a good teacher. He is a good teacher, the best teacher ever. He came to be our Savior. He came that we might be adopted into the family of God. The law can never do this. The law can never do this. And what the law can never do, God did by sending his son into the world. This is why we sing joy to the world. Joy to the world. The Lord is come.